Hi everyone, I'm Tom and I'm going to be showing you a hopefully fairly quick overview of Yinzi Ming, which is an economic game. We are merchants in the late Ming dynasty. We're growing things, turning them into better things with workshops, sending them off around the world, all in the pursuit of lovely, lovely silver. This is on GameFound right now. I'll put a link in the description in the corner of the screen to the GameFound page. It's a prototype, but it should give you a good idea of what's going on. See the GameFound page for all of the things that the final game is going to have. I'm just going to take you through what a round of the game is like. I have done a full two-player playthrough if you'd like to see that in action, if you'd like to see the full game in action. You can watch any portion of it if you want. I'm sure you know that, though. So the first thing we do in a round is determine the ratio of copper to silver. We roll a d6, and if we roll higher than its current position, it goes up. If we roll lower, it goes down. If we roll equal, it stays the same. Here, it was on 3. I've rolled a 2, so it's gone down. This is kind of mid-game position, the way the board is set up right now. So everyone that's been investing in silver, the amount of copper it's worth has gone down, because at any point in the game, you can swap your silver for this much copper, or copper for 1 silver if you'd like. So you're really hoping that it goes up and you can exchange it for a load of money when you want to get a load of things built. Then we determine the turn order and the bonus that we get for the round. So based on the position that we are here, we'll get to choose one of these bonuses. In the same row, we'll also be allowed to pay to put a goods tile out. And they can go from things like earning you an extra money every time you sell this round, getting you more transport capacity. You don't have to pay food for your overseers this round. You don't have to pay silver for them. You can build a workshop for free, or you can have a corruption action. The corruption actions are in the middle of the board, and a variety of bonuses to give you extra workers when you need them, extra people for majorities, let you send ambassadors off into the world helping with the shipping, just get an extra resource or food when you need it, so you don't have to take misfortune tiles, and there's some majority for being the most corrupt at the end of the game. So you would choose a bonus, then you've got the option, do you want to pay this much to put this tile out? I do. So I choose somewhere for it to go. In a 2-player game that I've got it set up for here, we don't use one of the regions. Put it in a space without any workers, and then I get to put 2 of my peasants on there, saying that I've got 2 of this Raimi now that I can sell to local markets in the future, or ship if places want it, or send to the caravans if people want it there. And let's say my opponent Marty wants to go somewhere else. He can put a tile out for cheaper if he wants, but this is determined the new turn order for the round. Then we give our overseers directives. At the start of the game, and then at the start of each round, we will have a shuffle deck of 12 order cards. There are 4 copies of each different card in there. The cards will have a different amount of command points. They'll determine how many times you get to do an action that you'll place your card underneath. So we're going to do 3 of these actions each over the course of each of the rounds. There's 4 rounds in the game. And we'll also have the chance to send these groups of overseers out onto the city board. So you'll essentially have 6 things to do. 3 cards, 2 things to do with each. You can also boost them. So if we have a quick look at the things you can do on your board, I've got 1 action here to increase my shipping capacity. But if I wanted to do it more, I could use overseers in my supply to boost that value up to 4. It's the maximum for each action that you can do. The reason why you might not want to go crazy with that is that you will have to pay wages for every action that you took here. So the number of lines on your cards plus the number of overseers you boosted them with, you could be paying silver, which is worth a point each, and potentially a ton of copper if the exchange rate has gone up by loads. So you have to balance that out. So you can increase your transport limit by paying a wood for each time for every action you've got here. You get some points at the end of the game for increasing that, but most importantly, when you sell to these markets or sell to these ships, every time you need to move a person over one of these red lines, that costs you a transport capacity. Basically, you don't go down on this track, but I've got 2 to spend right now, so if I want to move 2 workers from here to here, that's going to go over 2 lines, and I'm going to need a lot of transport capacity if I want to keep doing that. You can cultivate the lands. For each action you've got here, you can choose one of the 3 options. You can either pay to put new lands out, like you got the option to when you chose the turn order, maximum of 1 new land out, and you pay the cost based on the row it's next to. You can put 1 peasant in a tile that's previously been put out or a fruit tile, and 2 peasants on either maize or rice or salt. And you want your peasants out on these tiles because the next action along is to sell from those tiles that we've purchased to local markets for 2 copper each. So for example, I could sell this sugarcane here to this market. There's someone that wants to buy it. I place on that space, I get 2 money. There is a kind of high roller on some of the local markets. You can place on him and he will buy either of the goods to the side of him and give you an extra copper for them. But once they're covered up, you can't sell to them until they're uncovered again. And it's important to note, and we'll see this later when we start doing workshops, as soon as your workers are on these local markets, they are not yours anymore. They'll come back to you later, but for now, they are available for other people to use. This is about building workshops. It costs 1 stone to build a level 1 workshop, and then some money to upgrade them, an action for each step that you want to do, or you could just build a load of level 1s if you wanted to. And over here, you can spend actions to put overseers out in the corruption actions. So as well as choosing 3 of those 5 each round, you can't repeat an action in the same round, you'll get to take the whole group of overseers from one of your cards and place it in one of the 6 spaces on the city board. So you can either come to the Imperial Palace, you have to send a set number of people here to get a particular bonus. Wherever you go, you'll get 2 money. But if you send 1 overseer here, you'll get a money. If you send 2 overseers here, you'll get to draw 3 caravan tiles and keep 1 secretly. You can deliver things to them for money and points later on. If you send 3, you can increase your shipping capacity for free and without having to take that particular action. And for 4, you can build or upgrade a workshop for free. Again, no cost, and you don't have to go and do the action. You can come here to get resources. For every worker you send, pay a money, have a stone or a wood. You can produce things at workshops. Here's where your peasants might not stay yours forever comes in. So I can send some overseers here for the action. With 2 overseers, I can activate a level 1 factory. So let's just say I've got a level 1 porcelain factory up here ready to be used. Now the workshops also have the borders of the players on them. They don't mean necessarily that player has built them. You can see over here that Marty the green player has built one of my red workshops. The border means the worker that needs to go in there. So with my 2 overseers, I can take a red peasant from somewhere, from a local market, and take them to my workshop. So here, there would be no transport capacity cost, but if I came from this one, I'd have to pay a load to bring them to the workshop, so you've got to factor that in too. But I could basically bring this guy in from this local market, put one of my goods tiles on here to say that I have got a porcelain for future purposes. Now, I don't have to do it like that. I could also activate someone else's workshop. So if I really wanted fabric instead, I could activate Marty's workshop, still wants a red peasant, but for using his workshop, I have to pay him a silver first. There's a lovely interplay between you want to sell these goods to get a load of money and get them on the local markets, but as soon as they're there, they're up for grabs for other people to turn into lucrative resources that the ships want. Now, upgrading your workshops increases their capacity. They can have 1, 2, or 3 goods on them at most. When they're level 2, it only costs 1 overseer to activate each one. With 1 action, you can only activate each workshop once, but you can activate lots of workshops in 1 action. If you've upgraded them to level 3, it still only costs 1 overseer per level 3 workshop, but you can send up to 2 peasants there to make 2 goods in 1 go. There's the caravansary. When you come here, you put your workers in a column and fulfill one of the caravan request cards. So yeah, a peasant I had on some cotton could go here. I get a money right now, and I'm going to get some points at the end of the game. This is important for later, though, because when we do some resolution later in the round, we can see from these tiles there is 3 strength of invading steppe Mongols, and we need to have that many or more overseers in the caravansary section by the end of the round. There's like a majority thing going on, so if it just stayed like this, we haven't repelled the 3 strength, so the person with the most workers here would get 2 points. If we had repelled the strength, though, if I'd just sent 3 workers here instead, or maybe if Marty had contributed later on, the person with the most would get 4 points instead. You can come here and workers can get sent here if you've taken too many and couldn't use them all, and they are basically useless for now, but at the end of the round they're going to move up, and they can be used to bolster your action. So in a future round, if I've only got 2 here, but I really need 3 to activate the workshops I want, I can take them from this top section and increase my power. Much like when you're taking an overseer from your supply and boosting these actions on your player board. The last city action is shipping goods. So we have these ships out here that want varieties of refined or raw goods. And so, hey, this porcelain that I made, I could send 1 person here, ship a good. Again, you've got to pay transport capacity costs if you're going over red lines, but I could ship it there. I get a silver for every good that I shipped, which is a point, potentially a load of money. And then as soon as the ship's full, it sails off, and we look at the country that it's going to. pile all of the goods on top of that space because the goods are worth points at the end of the game for every person who sent them there. So the first time you go to a country, each good is worth 3 points, 2 points, 1 point for the Asian countries, and then the rest of the world country, it's 4 and then 3. There is also a little bonus you can get from the corruption to send an ambassador. So when a ship of that type goes away, you can discard your corruption bonus to move up this track, and at the end of the game, you'll get up to 4 points for every different destination you delivered to, so potentially a big bonus there at the end. And then new ships will come out to replace those filled ones. After we've done our 6 actions each, we have to feed our overseers. Everyone that we placed on the board, so you can see a minimum from the ones that are on the bottom of our cards, plus any bonuses we had from having corruption guys here. Everyone you've got from your level 1, 2, or 3 workshops count towards this. And you've got to pay food from having workers on the rice or the fruit or the maize, which will come out later. Potentially up to 4 food. For every food you can't pay, you need to take a misfortune token, minus 2 points each. You really don't want those. We verify if the caravan was escorted safely and work out the majorities there. And then everyone that delivered takes the caravan tile to get the points at the end of the game. We need to pay our overseers down here, so a minimum of the lines that are on the cards, plus any that we bolstered it with, potentially paying up to 2 silver to get a load of bonus actions. And then we have maintenance where we refresh everything for the next phase, new caravans, new goods tiles, bring everyone back and refresh the turn order. There's a little thing as well that if you keep winning the majorities here, your workers stay out and will cost you extra food at the end of each feeding phase, but that's the penalty for winning those points at the end. At the end of 4 rounds, we add up all of the points from the various goods delivered, the caravans, the workshops that we've built, the different countries we've delivered to, how far we're up on our trade capacity track. The person with the most people left on corruption bonuses gets 4 extra points, and the person with the most points wins. And there we go. That's a bit of a fast overview of Yinzi Ming. If you'd like to see this in action in more detail, I've done a full 2-player playthrough of this, gone through a full 2-player game, so I'd love to see you there if you're interested. For now though, the game fan page is linked in the description. You can see all of the final stuff there, how to make it happen, how to get hold of it. You can see plenty more from me as well as the full playthrough of this. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye everyone.